Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. On New Year's, the Capitol building was struck by lightning. Shusmut Dean Jabbar drives a truck in a crowd of people in New Orleans, kills 15. Right. Wounded about 25. Was it Matthew Allen drives a rented Tesla truck in front of Trump Towers and blows the truck up. They found weapons and bomb making material or explosives in the truck. Both rented trucks. Shusmud Dean Jabbar rented his truck out of Houston. Right. Now let's get to it, right? Because we're going to dive a little deeper into this subject, right? One, if you notice what's been going on the net, people are expressing their disappointment and some statements that Slim Thug made regarding black people need to get over slavery and the whole issue dealing with white people, right?
Vince, hey, this Deborah. How's it going? Okay, so I spoke to Slim Thug this morning. He was saying that there was not uh the entire video. He was saying it was not like directed about white people. He was just saying it was directed to people in general to like get themselves together and stop blaming others. Not, that's what he was trying to say, but I did ask him, and that's what he said. Okay, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.
And you can go online and hear all that. And I'm not here to get into that part, right? I'm here to get into this part. So soon after, and I want to show you how mindsets have been created and cultivated, and why certain people think a certain way, right? And certain people think another way, right? So soon after the attack in New Orleans with the truck attack, I get a call from a guy, I'd say in his late 60s, around 67, 68. He says, look, you're going to have to change and stop using your last name as Muhammad. Them white folk going to be on all black Muslims and black people who got Muslim last names, right? You better be careful. He's saying this out of concern and out of fear. And I immediately thought, what made you, why are you so afraid of what happened, right? But then I had to think about it. If he's 68, then that means he grew up in the, let's say in the 50s and the 60s and whatnot. So he might have seen some things that still frightens him till this day, till this very moment in 2025. Why do I say that? One, when a black person does something, it does not have anything to do with all black people. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with that. That's that individual on his individual quest that has nothing to do with black people in a whole, right? Okay, now he said they were coming after all Muslims, meaning Muslims from every country. And so when Matthew Allen blew up the Tesla truck in front of Las Vegas, here's a white Christian. I didn't get a call, or he didn't say, well, now they're going after all white Christians and our white people that have a Christian name. It's like, what are you saying? That individual, the only thing, now so far we found what those two individuals had in common was they both was in the military and they both served at Fort Bragg, right? But you have one white guy that's a Christian with a Christian name. Let's put it that way. Then you had one black guy that's a Muslim with a Muslim name. So when the reporter asked the Las Vegas police chief, he said, "Do you think?" And he was in regards to Matthew Allen. Do you think Matthew Allen was part of any terrorist cells, right, organization? He said, "No, he doesn't think that, and he doesn't have any evidence that would suggest that. Although the act that Matthew Allen did was a terrorist act." Now let's get into the real deal. Why did he say that? Right? Because Christianity is synonymous with being white if you go look it up and do your research, right? Islam, Moor, and black is all synonymous with black people, right? When the term Moor means black. The whole thing that took place in Spain when the Moors was conquered and the Pope sent out when the Pope gave approval to go out and take lands is because they hated the Moors so much. Anything that looked like the Moors would become an enemy, right? It was just a free fall. So the reason why people get upset at some of the statements that the rapper Slim Thug made was because in the Inquisition times, right, the Red Moors had beard just like Slim Thug. They hated. The Red Moors was brutal killers. You had Moors, but you had Red Moors, same color, Slim Thug, killers, right? So, and was was vicious, right? Who fought? Well, let's put it like this. Not saying they was vicious as just going around attacking people. I mean vicious as fighting and defending what was theirs, which was black people. They was defending their people. So to hear those comments by Slim Thug, who looks like the Moors, it was like it's like you're contradicting, or you don't know the history, right? And we can charge it to that level, right? So let's refresh. In history, Christianity meant white, right? And Moor was synonymous with Islam, which meant black. So if you're a black person, in the eyes of Christianity, they still gonna see you as a Moor, and you be wondering, well, why am I being discriminated against? I'm a Christian. Why is there supremacy against me, or systemic racism or racism against me, right? Because you're still looked upon as the Moor. Now your title, you might give yourself a name and a title, but it still doesn't overshadow what you look like when they look at you, right? It don't. You got that Moorish nose, you got those Moorish lips, you got that Moorish color, right? Got those Moorish dominant eyes, but yet you trying to convey to the world that you're not a Moor, you're a Christian. And the Christians, white Christians who gave black people Christianity during slavery, unless you was a Coptic or a Gnostic. They say, I beg your pardon, you're a Christian. Yeah, okay. Well, you're not going to get the treatment, but okay, Kaiser, what you want. We ain't got time to argue with you, right? That's the whole thing. See, going into the year 2025, the old way of thinking won't suffice, right? Because if you are on a subject or a topic too long and you haven't solved the problem, then it becomes toxic, right? So that means that the most important topic dealing with slavery or racism is reparations. Now you're talking about something because you're seeking to be repaired for some damages that was done, and you can see the effect of the damages that shows itself in today's times. That's why the older gentleman can call me afraid, because he's still under that mindset, because it hasn't been repaired. So it has to be repaired, whether monetary value or something, but those mindsets can't be passed down to this up and coming generation. One great event that broke that, right, was Million Man March. Was breaking that old mindset to prepare the people for the future and future things to come, in a way to think as a being, as a man or as a woman, right? You think on mathematics, science, you analytical. You're thinking on what is, right? You are producing. That's why now another topic in 2025 for black people, when you extract knowledge, we know how well the Moors were with the law, right? That is an aspect. The other aspect that's very important, either it has to be equal to studying the law or a degree above studying the law, and that is building. The Moors built. If you're not building anything and you're not talking about commerce or economics, then you're doing the Moors a disservice, right? If you're not building, you're doing the Moors a disservice, because the Moors' main thing was about building. They built libraries, they built structures, institutes, mosques, things that's still standing to this day. Just go over in Spain and parts of Portugal, you'll see what the Moors created, right? So in 2025, it's about reparations as a topic, and let's see how we can put that knowledge and information and prove that reparations is due, right? But we're doing it in a mathematical, scientific way, right? And we also, now we're building and we're creating wealth for ourselves in 2025. What took place in New Orleans and Las Vegas is paramount. You had a white person that committed an act of terror. You had a black person that committed an act of terror. Terror is terror. Terror is equal in terror. You can't say whether terror was more terror because a black person done it and a white person terror was less terror because white person done it. No, terror is terror, right? So the smart ones among us, right, the smart ones, understand that, look, I'm not worried about your color. Then this is 2025 talk. Past years, color was a big thing, right? But since we're having so many natural disasters and we can't control the weather, now people are more like, okay, what can we do to work together to save my family and your family, because the circumstances dictates that this is a must that we have to do. Meaning you're getting hit with hot summers, cold winters, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, right? Which now you don't have time to focus on racism white supremacy. You focusing now on feeding your child and creating a shelter or a roof over their head or a strong structure that can suffice a tornado or a wildfire or a hurricane or floods or winds or hot suns and high heat and such. That's the topic, right? You don't have time to say, look, when you in a natural disaster, right? And you on your roof, right? And a black person coming by with a boat. Hey, you want to get on and let me take you to a shelter to safety? You're not gonna say, I ain't getting on no black man's boat. I'd rather stand on this roof and drown. Self-preservation kicks in. Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, sir, for helping me. Let me get on your boat. Yeah, and my family, and bring my baby with me. I sure appreciate. Thank you. Matter of fact, here goes some money. Here go a tip. I appreciate your service for getting my family to safety. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? At this time, right? Because the situations and circumstances is so vast that your mind can't process a future hate campaign, right? Your mind can only process what can I do to save myself right now today. My stomach growling. You feel what I'm saying? Now, not in the background, but in the forefront, reparations is still there because you still got people who was affected by slavery, which created a slave mind. What is a slave mind? A slave mind is when you strip a person of the knowledge of themselves and then you pour into them the knowledge that you want them to have out of your perspective and your mindset. You say, well, how did they do that? Well, hell, they didn't allow black people to read or write for 300 some odd years, right? They didn't know English. They had to learn English from white people. They had to learn how to be so, quote unquote, an American by the people who was in charge. And they put into them what they wanted them to know and didn't know and made a law that it was against the law to teach them how to read or write. Then they say, well, if you want to keep anything away from a black person, put it in the book. All right? It was all systematically done, is what I'm saying. So that the minds need to be repaired. Then you take skills for how to create that Egyptian cotton out of Africa into America. You take farming skills. Then you take the building skill, the mathematical science, and the building skills of the Moors, and you built the White House and all these great structures, right? And never paid them. Or they future lineage through generations. So, of course you're going to have and I'm talking about the colonizers, of course you're going to have a head start in life and benefit and have white privilege because the mathematics adds up to white privileges from what was done. That's the formula. That formula, it proved that it worked. So now you got white privilege, but yet you got the original man and woman in a chaotic situation. But all that ended in 2024 because the circumstances and situations that's getting ready to take place in 2025 and numerology, which is the number 9, which is completion, that's complete. Now we're working on solutions from 2025 and beyond, right? It's solutions time. Now, that's why you're seeing so many people angry and upset because they want answers, they want solutions, and they don't know how to deal with silence or I don't know. When you got all of this AI and technology that's being created. So to recap, the older generations, there's no need to be afraid. If one black person does something, the whole black race on the planet didn't do it. Right? If a white Christian does something, the whole white race didn't do it, although you get the privilege of not being grouped as just one, and nobody comes out and says, look at what the white race done in this act of terror, right? But you will say, them black folk, look, killing that, you want to just group everybody together, right? That is racist within itself, man. So black people, stop being afraid, and study history and know who you are and what happened, and know how to relay that into the public. And once again, and go look it up, Christianity was synonymous with being white. The Moors were synonymous with being black. And that religion of the Moors was predominantly Islam, although you did have some Moorish Christians and some Moorish Hebrews. But in history, in the books, they talk more of the Muslim Moors than they do the Hebrew or the Jewish Moors and the Christian Moors. That's why when you go through Mexico and Philippines, you see a remnant set of Moors, or you hear the term Morano or Maori. If you go all the way down to New Zealand, right, it was always there, right? And they separated. We white, we Christians, we are separated from the Moors, the Moors, the Morus, the Maroons. We are separated from them, and in some kind of way, with that divide and conquer spirit, it put one against the other, and they've been fighting ever since, whether it's been physical, mental, spiritual, or just verbal within words, right? All right. So that's the message for 2025. Now, that's it from me, Verbal Pig Radio, on those topics, unless it's just something just moves me to get involved. Because now 2025, we're on a director's cut of accountability, right? Which features a character I created, the Gas Man. I mean, it's gonna be off the chain. Y'all stay tuned, and it's definitely going down. We are working that. We doing director's cut. We building up, because this is a film like none other, and it was shot in H-Town, right here in Houston, right? And you're gonna love it. We got some great people that help, great actors. This is gonna be a great, it's an experience that you are gonna enjoy. So you all stay tuned. It's gonna solve a lot of problems on how to be accountable for yourself, your actions, your words, your deeds, right? And how that inner self, that which can be negative, let's say, how it can take over you if you don't have the power of controlling your mind and your thoughts. Right here on Verbal Pig Radio, we are.